Okay, welcome back to my tutorial series on how to transform your space with the custom home mapper home building tool. As I showed earlier, we've gotten ourselves this far by assigning textures to our walls, getting the lighting balance to feel right so that the objects in our space feel... there's the floor panels that we're loading. I might have to correct that one a little bit. We've made a few subtle tweaks and modifications, but we're going to go a little bit further now and really make this space a little bit more virtual. One of the big subjects actually is that all the modifications I've talked about right now have been about adding objects to my space. I'm going to fix that hole. In fact, if I go to the edit menu and I take that flat that I used, I could probably just size it up a bit more. Yeah, that was the problem. Like I said, I've been talking about adding objects to my space, like plants that exist on top of the real tables. What I want to do next is talk about how to replace an object in the space. For example, this couch. Let's say rather than add objects to the couch, I want to see a virtual couch that matches the proportions of this real object so that when I sit down on it, it still sort of works. So what I need to do is first remove the physical object. Each of the, like I said, when we first load the space, each of the real objects, the boundaries of it, are represented by these cubes that show the occlusions of the space underneath. We have the option to hide this cube, and we also have this option in the Edit Objects menu. We can choose to hide objects, and it'll give us that thing where we spawn, choose the nearest object, and remove it. But now that we've hidden it, there's nothing telling the system explicitly to render the couch. It is rendering the floor underneath, if you see what I mean, and that's causing a bit of visual confusion. But for our purpose, we actually want to replace this with our own couch. Let's see what kind of couch options we have available to us. What about if we take this guy and we give it a better texture than that? We're going to go for now with this, and we're going to change that texture. So I'm using my thumbstick to adjust the size of the virtual object that I want to spawn, and I'm going to get the approximate width of the shape. I'm using any of the presets that I have, but obviously there's not going to be something that matches your couch perfectly. So I'll show you what we're going to do for right now. We're going to get this couch in here, and my only goal is to get this seat height level. So I'm going to touch the surface, and I'm going to let go of it right when I think it's at the point where, yeah, that's where my couch surface is. More or less, I'm going to adjust it actually a little bit to touch over the edge for my armrests, but this one feels good too. And now what I might do is just add another object, something simple that can serve as an extra armrest, because this virtual couch matches my real one with the exception of a bit of an edge. So let's see what I can find here. Just a simple shape, something like, well, let's see. Oh, maybe a curved armrest would be kind of nice. Can curve it in. Yeah, let's do this guy. And push him in a little bit like that. The actual edge of my armrest is here. So let's try that, and I'll do the same on the other side. Bumping it up a little bit, toggling the color change, bumping it up a little bit so that it overlays the real thing. And now I have a virtual couch lit by the virtual lit by the lighting of the virtual scene, but replacing my real couch. And so I can go through if I want, and I choose whether I want to use this reflective table that I have existing in my space already, or whether I want to choose something else. For example, here, maybe I don't want my computer to be accessible at all. It's not important to, let me just delete that. It's not important to use this space. So what I'm going to do is, again, I'm going to, in this case, it's a bit of a funny one. I can't quite touch the hide cube object because there is a stack of paper on those tables. So edit objects, hide object, spawn this one over here and let go, and that tells the system to not show that automatically created cube. There's another one over here too. I'm going to get rid of you. You shouldn't be there. And now we're going to find a totally different object to use. Let's try to do something like a bookshelf. I believe there's one. This one's not bad. Sure. Where are you? Yeah. And again, I said I want to adjust the texture. So right now I'm going to use this sort of weird texture. And I'm going to totally replace the area that used to exist, my computer desk, with something entirely different, a series of shelves. In fact, I'm going to lift this guy up a bit. So I want to see a big set of shelves here, and I'll put something underneath him, just for the set of this guy. Put another shape underneath, add this texture, and we're going to fix all this later. Yeah, this gives me a shelving system instead of the desk that I was using before. Let's go to Edit Objects, and it's this texture that I want to change. And what do I want? Do I want a wooden shelving unit similar to these walls? That kind of looks nice, and it fits the wood cabin theme I'm going for. All right, let's talk about this texture that I'm using for my couch. Let's change that. Do I want a kind of psychedelic couch? That's not bad, actually. I think it's pretty cool, very colorful. Maybe I'll do a few more bits of furniture in that super colorful style, or maybe not. I'll choose something more muted. Probably not a stone texture. What about something like, no, it's too weird. Camouflage blue. Again, I can change these color tints to other colors. Right now I'm actually just going to go for something very neutral like what I had in the beginning. We'll go all the way back to, that's not bad, but let's do, yeah, the striped lines. Looks a bit like a couch I used to have. Anyways, I think we're starting to get there. Let's do a bit more. So let's take a large flat plane, something like, something like this object. Oh, hang on. Let's just do this guy. Now, we're going to use this to create our ceiling. And again, we only can choose from the textures we had available, so we're going to go with this wood texture. And I think to fit the shape of this room, I can probably get away with a very large rectangular object above me here. And just placing it by pushing the thumbstick to place a little bit further away from me, rotating it carefully. I think I can lock myself in fairly well. Yeah, I like that. Yeah. Now I'm going to do one more here for my kitchen. I still want my kitchen to feel like it has a view, but I'm going to place one big rectangle above it just to define a ceiling. There it is. All right. Next. What else? Okay, I'm going to do another touch. Just give me a few minutes. We'll probably fast forward through this as I add a bunch of extra objects to the scene, and then I'll show you what I've created once I get a little bit more progress. I would say it's starting to feel pretty different in here. I've added a few simple light sources and just a few bookshelves to kind of cover these walls. Maybe I'll do one last thing. I want to reveal some of the actual artwork that I have in my main space. So if I create one of these occlusion panels and I put a rectangle right here where this piece of art is, I should be able to help it pop out of my wooden wall into the real space. Just like that. Yep. And then one more. Actually, what I'm going to do, this guy is sadly in my way. I'm going to move him, perhaps put you on this wall. Yep. And I want to do that same trick over here where I think I have a moon set. There you are. Yeah. Even though it cuts into the window a bit, that's fine. Adjust that later. Let's bring you out. Put you right behind that plant. That's great. So bits of my real world space are peeking in, and I quite like the effect of being able to see the things around me and see them mixed with this. So I'll come back to do one more video about some of the advanced features of this, mostly things that exist here, the television player, a bit more talk of these occlusion panels and lighting, and some of the talk about particles, and then I'll reference a bit of the things you can do in multiplayer as well. So stick around, one more video to go. Before I finish, I have to find my console and save it.